Christian Lander's with us. If you have not laughed at the website, Stuff White People Like, you haven't seen it or you don't get it. That is purely my opinion now. Many disagree with me, and we'll get into that. But the Stuff White People Like site has 72 million hits. It's turned into a best-selling book. Now it's a book sequel. It's called Whiter Shades of Pale, The Stuff White People Like, Coast to Coast, from Seattle's Sweaters to Maine's Microbrews. As I said, the author is Christian Lander. Good morning to you.
Good morning. So
first, for our listeners who don't know the site, you got to give us the premise.
Sure. The concept is it's a list of the things that white people like, and then an explanation about how you can use information about these things to get white people to befriend you and possibly exploit them for favors.
Okay, that's your premise, but it's not your point. Now give me your take.
Well, the point is, I mean, the take is I'm making fun of a very specific group of white people. Upper, middle class, left-leaning liberals. Obviously, you don't have to look at the site very long to figure that out. And
right.
From what I could tell, you have a few of them in Seattle.
I've heard
like
that.
A couple
yes.
people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand that's true.
I noticed a few. And so, I mean, the joke is this idea of race and class still being mixed. And the funny thing is, the group that I'm making fun of, the left, really want to believe that they're post-racial and they're beyond it all, and that that they don't see race anymore and they're not racist because they have a black friend, and that sort of stuff. But ultimately, the fact that this list can even exist and you instantly get what I'm talking about, these things are white, is enough of a statement in and of itself, and that's sort of the point behind it.
Now, Linda Thomas was asking me a question earlier this morning that some of our listeners are asking.
In a way, it just seems like another form of racism. You're not putting down another race, but you're in essence elevating these kind of white men, primarily, elitist. I mean, is it racism in just a different form?
No. I'm making fun of these people more than anything else, and I am one of them. And the other thing is, simply put, it is always, under every circumstance, acceptable to make fun of white people. There's never a situation where it's not okay to make fun of white people.
But the things that white people like in your book, they're so precious. I mean, really, these days are Bill Radke kind of things. Seriously, I love you, Bill, but I'm right.
Christian, I worked in public radio for the last 25 years before this, so yes, I'm in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, look, but I'm making fun of all these things. I'm making fun of how precious we consider this. I mean, when I put, some of the entries on the site include when I put gifted children on the list, that all white people have gifted children. I'm not really saying, isn't it great that all white people have gifted children? I'm like, no, isn't it terrible that all white people think they have gifted children?
Give us some other examples.
So there's...
Can we talk Seattle?
Yeah, sure.
Examples?
Well, so the book has an entry on Seattle, and the picture is, there's all line drawings for the different cities. And the picture is a guy wearing sort of those hiking shoes, that everybody seems to have on for the opportunity to go camping at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
One of those big, thick sweaters that has like the knitted caribou into it.
Yes.
One of those hats that has the ear flaps, and he's drinking coffee very fancily. That's all very much covered in there. And one of the things about Seattle that really impressed me with the Seattle white people is the ability to survive in the wild, or at least my perceived ability of Seattleites to survive in the wild, because one of the entries in the book is camping, about how white people like camping.
Yeah.
And I personally don't. I don't do that. I don't like camping. I think anytime you go camping, you're spitting in the face of your ancestors, who literally 600 years ago were like, "This is terrible. I want to get out of nature. I could get eaten by a bear. I'm going to get diphtheria. Why can't someone fix this?" And then we did. And then white people just want to go right back.
Yes.
Because I've always said that white culture, especially here, there's no more elevated or honorable death than to die at the hands of nature. Like that's the way we all want to go.
Into the wild.
Bear attack, whatever we can get. It's
noble.
It's our noble death.
Yeah. Linda, you satisfied?
Yeah, I get it. I get it now.
So to me, the way I read this when I hear, for example, the outdoors obsession, is that I think, oh yeah, it's a little reminder to me, oh yeah, I can afford to love nature because it doesn't kick my butt, and I can afford the huge sweater, and I can afford heat and Gore-Tex.
Shopping at REI.
And I don't take it that you're elevating me as superior, and I don't really take it that you are hating on me. I just take it that you're reminding me to be self-aware, realize where I am on the scale of privilege.
Yep.
And is that about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, basically the larger message. Stop patting yourself on the back. Like, take a step back, and stop sort of seeing yourself as the most perfect human being in the world. Look, I'm guilty of this. I mean, look, I'm a music snob, I'm a food snob, I'm a literary snob. I know all this stuff. So writing it, I was always hoping. I'm like, look, my snobbery and my literally intolerance for people who don't have the same level of snobbery isn't helping anything at all, ever. You know, and it was, some of this was a rage I had coming out of graduate school, where I found that all my fellow students in grad school, it was English and film, double PhD. You know,
of course.
Really,
Yeah.
I did drop out because of all the job offers, obviously.
Sure.
No, I dropped out because of the lack of the job offers. But ultimately, the students that I was with, it was just the most amazing amount of left-wing intolerance.
Mm-hmm.
They refused to listen to any other perspective, and they called themselves open-minded, provided that they were open to things they already agreed with.
Yes.
And that sort of attitude, it just drove me nuts, and it's not helping. And the snobbery's not helping, and we're not helping move anything forward in this country by being so self-congratulatory all the time. You know, the stalemate that we're at, the impasse. Look, I'm making fun of myself here. I am a left-wing liberal all the way. We're not helping at all. You know what I mean? We're making it just as acrid as anyone else, and that's what I want to make fun of.
Christian Lander, the book is Whiter Shades of Pale, and the subtitle.
The stuff white people like, from Seattle sweaters to Maine's microbrews.
Thank you for that. I'm glad it's funny stuff, and I'm glad we got at some of the commentary too. And thank you for coming. 7:50.